In this video, we're going to have a look at how to calculate the total surface area of a composite shape. When you're finding the total surface area of a composite shape, there are two different methods you could use. The first one is drawing a net, which consists of the individual sides that are present within the composite shape, calculating the area of each of those shapes that make up the composite shape, and then adding all of those shapes together to find the total surface area. The second method is by using formulas that you know for total surface area of 3D shapes. First you need to do is break the composite 3D shape into smaller shapes, calculate the total surface area of each of those individual shapes. If those shapes join and some of the area of the individual shapes disappear, you need to calculate the area of the joins and then add all of the individual shapes together and subtract any joining sides. There are the two methods you can use when calculating the total surface area of a composite shape. So let's have a look at an example and see how we can apply each of these methods. So in this example, we want to find the total surface area of the composite shape. Now, to find the total surface area of this composite shape, the easiest way would be to break the shape into two smaller shapes, and we can break it into two rectangular prisms by splitting it down the middle. This will allow us to find the total surface area of each separate rectangular prism and then add them together. So let's have a look at how we can do this. So I'll start off by drawing two smaller rectangular prisms that will enable you to go through and add on the measurement for each of those individual shapes. So starting with the bigger rectangular prism, we'll call that A, and we'll call the littler one B. So the measurements for rectangular prism A, it is going to be 4 centimeters and then 6 centimeters high, and then 10 centimeters wide. Now for B is going to be 8 centimeters, it's going to be 10 centimeters wide, and this one is going to be 3 centimeters. Those measurements come from the diagram provided to us in the question. So 4 centimeters matches up to across there, 6 centimeters up there, and then the width is going to be 10, and it's the same for both. And then the second one is 8 by 10 and 3 meters high. So now the next step is to calculate the total surface area of each of those individual rectangular prisms. So we'll start off by finding the total surface area of rectangular prism A, and our first step is to write down the formula. So 2 times length times height plus length times width plus width times height, and we'll define our terms. So our length is going to be 4, our width is going to be 10, and our height is going to be 6. So now we're going to go and substitute in those values into our formula. It's going to equal 2, it's going to be 4 times 6 plus 4 times 10 plus 10 times 6. Putting that into our calculator to work out the total surface area of rectangular prism A, which is equal to 248 centimeters squared. So we'll add that into our diagram up the top. So the next step is to calculate the total surface area of rectangular prism B. So to calculate the total surface area of rectangular prism B, start off by writing the formula. So 2 times length times height plus length times width plus width times height. And before we go ahead, we will define those terms. So length is going to be 8, width is going to be 10, and height is going to be 3. So now substituting in those values, it's going to be 2 times 8 times 3 plus 8 times 10 plus 10 times 3, which equals to 268 centimeters squared, 268 centimeters squared. So now that we know the total surface area for both of the rectangular prisms, we can go ahead and calculate the area of any joins. So looking at the composite shape, I can see the two rectangular prisms are going to join along there. And that join's going to go all the way to the back and form a rectangle. Now the rectangle is the same as the rectangle that is down the end. So the next step is to calculate the area of the join. So area of join is going to be length times width, which is 10 times 3, which is 30 centimeters squared. So the join is 30 centimeters squared. So now we have all the information to calculate the final total surface area of the composite shape. So to calculate the total surface area of that composite shape, it's going to be the total surface area of the rectangular prism A plus the total surface area of rectangular prism B. And then we want to subtract our join. Now our join is part of shape A and shape B. So we've got to subtract it from shape A, and then we're going to need to subtract it from shape B as well. So we need to subtract 2 times the area of the join. So substituting in the values, it is going to be 248 plus 268 minus 2 times 30, which equals 456 centimeters squared. So the total surface area of the composite shape is 456 centimeters squared. So this is an example of how we can calculate the total surface area of a composite shape by breaking it into smaller 3D shapes, finding the total surface area, adding them together, and then subtracting any surfaces of those individual shapes that are removed when we join the individual shapes together to make our composite shape.